Gmail account. Thank you. I forgot to do that.
I got it. I just noticed.
Okay, thank you. We're just now starting the recording. We've already, I'm going to bring you up to date. This is a topic tonight is about Google again, but what I'm addressing this time is, let's say you're at your branch meeting and your branch has already talked about this a number of times, that you want to store and or share documents within your branch in a more electronic, easy format, easy way to do it. And people have mentioned Google or Google Docs or Google Drive or something to that effect. So I'm showing you tonight how to start from scratch and how to maybe structure your Google Drive to store things and what things you might store on your Google Drive and how you would share it with everybody or certain people in your branch, just the board perhaps or whatever. So I'm starting with the very basics, which is establishing a Gmail account. And I created the account. I don't think it's showing right here, but I called it AAUW ACCT. And if I go over here to the T, because it's under my name, so if I go under the T, it'll show you, if you hover over it, it's owned by me, and it's called AAUWACCT@gmail.com. And if you notice, there's nothing here in the Gmail because nobody knows about this email. So there's nothing here yet. But this is where all the emails will come in, and you'll be able to, if you use this email like you would any other email address, and you could decide to use it for your branch. And so you're not using private email addresses. Another thing to do, and it'll send you emails on its own. Another thing to do is to click on this T. And if you notice, if you have any other Gmail accounts, then you'll see some of them listed here. It won't be all of them, because I have multiple of them, but these are the ones I use most often. This is my main one, personal one. This is for another organization I'm involved with and I use a lot. And then again, we were here before. I can also add another account. I can switch to another account, sign out of all accounts. So there's ways to get between your accounts here. This is a very important piece right here, because if you go into the Drive, for example, we'll do that in a minute, and you happen to be
killed, including County Sheriff's Sergeant Ron Hillis. He was one of the first to enter the bar to try and stop the gunman.
So please put yourself on mute, Leanne.
Gathered at the healing.
Thank you. So one helpful hint is whatever Gmail or whatever Google account, I'll call it Google account or Gmail account that you're in, will be the Drive information you're seeing, the documents you're seeing after we've uploaded them. So you can get confused if you happen to be logged into a different Gmail account. Let's say you have more than one and you're not in this one, which is your branch one. You may say, I don't see the documents I'm looking for that we've shared amongst the branch. So if you don't see the documents you're looking for, and we'll do this later too, you would go over to the right-hand side, which is your account. Notice which account you're in. If you're in the right one, then we've maybe got a different problem. But if you're not, click on it and go to the right one. So it's very important which Google account you're in. There's a whole, so when you're in this account, this is your Gmail account, you go and you click on these dots. And these are all the free applications, I will say, that you have access to now under that account number, that account name. So for example, this is Google Drive. Documents associated with that we want to upload to this account on this account's drive will appear here. Will appear, and it'll show over here in a minute. I'll go through that in a sec. Other ones that we're familiar with is Docs, which is similar to Word. We've talked about that last time. Google Sheets, which is like Excel, and Google Slides, which is like PowerPoint. The rest of them are others that you can use. Forms sometimes you use, it's more when you get to the next step and you want to create a form that somebody can fill in. But we're not going to go over that tonight. So here we are, we have a brand new account. And I have a document that I want to upload to this Google Drive for this account because I'm just establishing it for my branch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to here and I'm going to go to the drive for this account. And there is nothing in here. There's nothing in my drive, which is my drive for this account. There's nothing here. Nothing's been shared with me. That's another thing that we'll look at. And nothing's recent because I've done nothing with this drive yet. I've done nothing with this account. So going back to drive, if I want to, one thing to do first, well, first thing I'm going to do what I did last time, which is I'm going to upload a document to Drive. I'm not going to put it in a folder or anything like that just yet. I'm going to say I want to upload a file, and it's going to jump over to my my Windows Explorer, and I'm going to look for something. I think I called it test last time. A test Word document. That's the one I want to upload into this Drive folder and open it. And down here at the bottom, you see that it does a status. It says one upload complete. And it put it in the list here and basically just put it directly into my drive because I did it and I uploaded it into Google Drive. I know I'm in Drive because it's here. I know which account I'm in because it's here. And it shows my account. That's my branch account. That's as simple as all you have to do. And then when you want to look at this document, you double click on it. It brings up what's called Google Docs, which we went over last time. And you can modify it. You can do whatever you like to it. And remember, you don't have to physically save it. It'll automatically save for you. And it'll always be sitting right here. So let's say we start getting a couple of documents here. And we start going, we need to organize this better. Or the person who's doing this process goes, I need to organize it better because I don't want everybody to see every document. When I share this drive with everybody, I want certain people to only to see the newsletter. I want certain people to see the minutes from the board meeting. So one way to do that, to organize that, is to put things in folders. So just like you would on your desk, in your physical folders on your desk, you would have different things like all your paperwork in one folder for your newsletters and all your minutes and so forth in another folder. So the way to create folders under your drive, because you're in my drive right now, is say new and just say, I want a new folder. And you want to call it something. So I think I'll call these newsletters. Okay, and I'm going to create the folder. So if you notice, the icon looks different. Newsletters is like a little folder, like a manila folder. And then the document itself is, right now it's a Word document. It can change a little bit, the icon, when it becomes a Google Doc, which is pretty much the same thing. But if it go into newsletters folder, there's nothing in here, okay? Because I haven't moved anything to that folder. So if you look up here, here's your train, if you will. This is my drive, which is under that account. And here's my newsletter folder. Right now, there's nothing in it. So I'm going to say, I'm going to rename let's see. I'm going to bring this up, the test doc, just for practice sake. And I'm going to actually make a copy of this document just for our purposes here. And I'm going to call it a newsletter. So I'm going to say make a copy. And it's going to call it by default, copy of test Word document. I'm going to call it, oops. Oh, it's highlighted already. I'm going to call it newsletter October 2023. And it's going to be stored in my drive for right now. I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. And I'm not going to click the share it with other people or same people yet, because we haven't talked about sharing yet. So I'm just gonna make a copy. So it's going to be the same document here, but it's going to have another different name. So what we'll see newsletter October 2023 is here. Looks the same as the other one. I'm going to put newsletter version just to make sure we know it is. And notice I don't have to save or anything like that. Okay, so it says saved in Drive. So it's automatically saving it in my drive because that's where it's located right now. If I'm curious where it is, I've got a new document again and where the other document went, go back up to here. You can do this and go back to your drive, or you can go, let's see if I can do it this way. Yeah, I've always done it this way. So go back to here, which is where your drive is. And now notice you have, it should refresh here. Okay. Notice it has newsletter October 2023 and test Word doc. So now we've got 2. Another thing it does is it puts a suggestion up here on what you might want to look at because you opened them recently. So it kind of tries to help you out. So once you have, documents and stuff in a drive, it'll try to guess what you're looking for next when you come back in, which is helpful in a lot of cases, but sometimes you're looking for something you put out here 2 months ago or something, so it wouldn't be in the immediate list. So we have 2 documents here, and I'm thinking, I want this one. I don't want this in the main drive. I want this in the newsletter folder. I can simply just drag and drop it here. I can, so I can do that if I want to. Just try it. So it went to newsletters. If I click on this, it's there now. If I go back to Drive, it's no longer there. So if I go back to newsletters, oops, I think, oh, I'm going to put it back in my drive for an example. Another way to do it, if you don't remember to drag and drop, or if it's like there's a lot of documents and you have a long way to drag it, right click on it and organize. So you would just move it and then it'll give you where you could potentially move it to. We only have one folder, so it only lists one folder, but it'll list other folders. It suggests where you might want to put it. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to say, move it there. Notice it's gone and it's under newsletters again. You can also copy it and put it in 2 places. So that's the way to first upload it wherever you want to. A lot of times it'll go directly in under my drive, and then you may need to move it. You can also upload directly into my newsletters, and you can go new and file upload. You can pick another file here to do. Let's see if we had another one. I have an Excel. So I put that in here. I think, oh, I didn't want that there. I really wanted it in my drive. It doesn't belong in newsletters. I'm going to put it in a different folder, but I don't know what I'm going to call the folder yet. So instead of losing sight of where it is, I'm going to put it back in the drive, which is the main upper level place. So you'd organize this like you would Windows Explorer if you've done a little work with that, or as you would do file folders on your desk. So right now what I have is I have one document under newsletters, and I have 2 other documents under the main drive. Now, before I move forward and get other folders involved and get down to break down even further. I want to talk about sharing, which is one of the big reasons for doing this and using this tool. You can share at the document level. You can, and by sharing, I'll explain that in a minute, but you can share at the folder level and you can share at the drive level. So you can share everything that's under this drive. Like you might do that with, I don't know that you would do that with your whole branch, but I would probably look into doing it at the folder level. So for example, if I'm in the newsletters folder and let's say I only have a certain set of people I want to look at my newsletters first, or let's say maybe we're going to have a review folder under the newsletter folder, because maybe I send it to somebody or a couple of people to review it before I send it to the entire branch. So can anybody tell me what you would do at this point to make sure that only the people that can see the review would see the newsletter to review? In other words, what would you do to organize this so that not everybody can see it?
Create a new folder.
Correct. And how would you do that? That would it be under my drive or would it be under newsletters?
Under
Where would you do it?
newsletters. I do it under
Yes.
newsletters and then just call it newsletter review.
Yep. So to do that, newsletters, new folder, and say to be reviewed maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and create it. Okay. So if you notice, this folder is under newsletters right now. If we want to get into to be reviewed, click on it and then you'll see the chain up here. As the chain gets longer, you'll see some dots. Like if I say newsletters for 2023, newsletters for 2022, and all that, it'll be really long and it can't show it all. So it'll put dots in place and you can hover over the dots or click on them, can't remember which, and it'll show you what's missing. So we're in newsletters and we say, okay, I'm ready with this one and I want it to be reviewed. I really shouldn't have put it here because I don't want everybody to be able to see it yet. I really want it to be in the reviewed folder because I'm ready for, you could actually say, to your co-member or whoever's going to review this, to say, when I'm ready for you to review it, I could be doing it in the middle of the night and I could put it in that to be reviewed folder. You can just check there periodically if you want, and say, is there anything in there for me to review? And you don't even have to communicate. But you can obviously do that. You can communicate and say, oh, it's been moved. Another way to do it is to say, put it in the to be reviewed folder and right click on it on the document itself and get the share and copy the link. Puts it in the clipboard, which means you don't see it physically right now. But when you go to your Gmail, you go to, oh, sorry, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this. Go to Gmail for this account. And what you would say is compose a new email. Say it's going to go to Dawn. I think you're Dawn. What's your Gmail account, Dawn?
Dawn and J. Johnson.
Dawn what?
And A-N-D. J-A-Y. Johnson.
Okay. Should have come up, but it hasn't yet.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay. There it is. After I typed it all.
Yeah.
So you could just say for your review. And then the link is still in my clipboard. So you can do control V to paste it right in here. Okay, so one thing that's going to have to happen before she'll be able to view this. So once, before I send this, it's saved as a draft so I can get back to it. It's in this folder here. So I'm going to go back and be able, what I need to do is make sure she's able to see it, that I've shared it with her. Because if she does this right now, I'm not sure that she's going to be able to view it because she might have to ask for permission. So it's always a good idea to figure out the permissions first and then send links. I'm very guilty of sending a link and not everybody has the permissions. And then they come back and say, I can't see it. So what I'm going to do, leave this here. I'm going to close it out. It's going to save it because it's over here in drafts. It's already been saved. I don't have to physically save it. I can send it in a minute. And I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go back to my drive. And I'm going to say, okay, I was in newsletters, but I also was in to be reviewed. In this folder, I really only want Dawn to be the one to see things that are in this folder. So I'm going to share it only with her. So 2 ways to share, which is the same way you share anywhere within the Google platform. You put the email address of the person and then what type of access you want. Or you can also do it by the link, but let's do it by person. Let's say Dawn and J Johnson. Oops,
Dot.
and then it'll pop up right after I've typed it. There you go.
Yeah.
So helpful. Now when you share with somebody, it'll ask you whether you want to let them edit, comment only, or view. And I think we went over this a little bit last month. Since I want her to be able to edit it, because I want her to make corrections, I'm going to leave her as editor because she's able to edit. She's able to change it to be suggestion mode so that I can see the original text and then her suggested changes. She can do that when she goes in, but the highest level of authority I can give her as editor, and I want her to have that in this case. What it's also going to do is notify her that she now has access to this drive. I can put a private message in here. I can say, so you are the lucky one. Gets to review my newsletters. And then I send it to her. And then she gets it in her inbox and then she's able to review. If Gail tries to go and look at the document in there, I'm not sure what the default is. We'd have to go look at the privacy settings, but she may not be able to go in this folder and be able to look at this document. She may not be able to access it. So I'm going to ask Gail, if you would, if you can go into, actually, let me ask Julika, because Gail, you're still learning. Julika, can you go into go
Okay.
into, I've shared only, go into your own Google Drive,
Okay.
go in and just see if you're able to see newsletter October, well, actually to be reviewed folder.
Okay.
And I'm gonna not share my screen because chances are you won't be able to find it.
Okay, go into
So-
Office or my personal Gmail account.
Yeah, go into your personal Gmail account just to see if it's open to anybody.
Okay.
So go ahead and share your screen when you, so we can see what you do.
Okay, and I'm going to share. You want to disable your screen sharing?
Oh, that was a month ago. Okay, there you go.
Start again. All right, so this is where I'm at. This is my personal email account.
Okay, so if you go to Google Docs or go to Google Drive, which is the dots over in the upper right.
And let me just get the screen out of the way here. It's blocking. Okay, so here I'm into my drive.
Yeah.
And these are my documents up at the top with my folders.
And up in search and drive in that search space, put in what did I call it? To be reviewed.
And that's a document.
That's a folder. So
folder.
see if anything comes up. Scroll down a little bit. I think it's just finding text now. It's not finding the folder.
Well, let's see if
So
I can.
it's, yeah, look for folder
Hmm.
down below there. Yeah, so it's not finding the folder because I haven't shared it with you. So stop the screen sharing, and Dawn, can you share your screen?
Move this here out of the way. There we go.
Dawn, if you share yours, let's see what it does for you.
Are you seeing
So
that?
go, yeah. So if you go over
Okay.
to your dots on the right-hand side by your picture, go to your, there, yeah. And then up in, yeah, you can put folders there, and then up here just say to be reviewed. Well, there it is. Just press enter anyway.
There it is.
Right. So I shared it with you, and actually notice it says it's in the shared with me drive. So it found it there. Even though you started out in my drive and did your search, it found it in shared with me. And the reason it's in shared with me is because I shared it with her. This
So I
is what
could
I was
access
talking.
it over here too.
Yeah, that's the same thing. I mean, it's basically
Yeah.
saying I found it in the shared with me drive, and this is where it is. So, Gail, that's what I've talked about with you is it doesn't matter what drive you're in at the time you're putting it in the search box, which is why I think it's a very robust search tool because it finds it. And if it has been shared with you, it should find it like this. And then she should be able to double click on the newsletter itself and be able to edit in there. So if you want to go down there and do that. So she could probably either do the to be reviewed or the document itself.
I
Are you
seem to
talking,
be more careful about writing down the names of the folders that are shared with me, and I can find them again.
You don't even have to. If you go into your Google Drive, if you know how to get here,
Hmm.
just click on shared with me.
over
They're
here?
already there. Yeah.
Happily and
These
yet
are all,
happily, I've had an awful lot of stuff shared with me. So
yeah,
there's a wealth of wonderfulness in my shared with me window.
yeah,
So
good. So you don't even have to write them down. They're all listed here. The way to find them within your list, because Dawn has a lot of them too, is for her to search there or to just scroll down. But notice she has so many. Just putting it in there. To be reviewed. It's
there
right
it is.
there. Yeah, so you can do it that way, or you can actually see it in the list. And there it is. And if
Notice
she
it
goes
also
in,
pulled up another one with this because it has the word review in it.
correct. Yeah, so it's a very good search
Mhm.
algorithm they have here. I have been very successful using the search bar in this application.
It's good.
So yeah, if you quickly just go into the newsletter itself, Dawn, and then you're able to edit it because I gave you editing authority. You are also able to change that to suggestion mode, which I know you've done a million times, but if you could demonstrate that. So
Okay.
editing edits the document directly, meaning she could make text changes. They'll automatically happen. They will be kept as a separate version, so we can get back to them behind the scenes. But if she just wants to suggest things for me to look at when I look at it the next day or whatever, then she can put in suggestion mode like she just did, and then it'll do it like she's doing now. I don't know if she likes it. Um, and then I can go and say, when it comes to me and I bring this up, I'll see her suggestion. And when I go in, if I hover over next on the right side of the box that got her picture in it, I can click the check mark and accept it as is, or I can cross it out and say, I don't like that, or I can reply to it.
And it's always green.
Yeah, it's a different color. So that's part of the Google Doc stuff we talked about before. Just wanted to show if you're not
Right.
able to get into the document or you're not able to get into the folder, you need to talk to the person who wants you to get in there, that provided that link to you, and say, or maybe provides a link to the document for you, but you weren't given the ability, they didn't share it with you. So there's two pieces. You get the link to it, and you get the ability to the sharing from the owner. Okay.
I'll just
So-
accept this so you can see that it turns black and now it's permanently in the document.
Right.
Should I
Good.
stop sharing?
Yeah. Stop sharing for now. I'd like to hear some questions at this point. I don't want to overwhelm or maybe I already have. Is there anything so far that's unclear that you want me to go over again?
I thought you did a nice job of differentiating between files and folders and moving files around and creating new files and new folders, and that looked pretty clear.
Okay, good. The sharing part gets it's a different concept. It's almost like you do have to think about it. So many times it's not unusual to I actually created that email, which I never sent to Dawn, but a lot of times I send a link. I did it just recently with our minutes from the board, and I sent the link and I didn't make sure it was shared with everybody. So they end up telling me, oh, I can't see it or whatever. So then I have to go back in and share it. Or they're not, I put it in a folder that isn't shared with everybody. And because I thought that was the best place to put it, and I should have put it in a different folder that is shared with everybody. So that does happen. And it's another level of complexity or steps that you have to take to maintain the organization and to actually drive work with it, which is a good feature of Google, I think.
But I might want to point out, Tracy, I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
Mhm.
It's not the end of the world if you forgot to share it with someone, because
Mhm.
when they try to look at it, Google will tell them, you don't have access, you need to ask for access. And it just has you click a button and it would send a message to Tracy saying, Julie needs access. And then Tracy will click a button and give you the access. So you'll get a message that allows you to contact Tracy. So it's not the end of the world. She'll see that you couldn't
Yeah.
access it. She can fix it from her end really quickly.
Yeah, it's all behind the scenes. You don't have to call me or anything like that. In fact, I'm
Right.
gonna bring up that email, and I'm not gonna send it to Dawn because she has access, but I'm gonna send it to Julica, who we know doesn't have access. I didn't share it with her, as we saw, so that it was in the drafts folder. And I'm gonna bring it up. And here's the link to the document that we've been working in. I think it's the document, not the folder. But either way, and I'm gonna not send it to Dawn, I'm gonna send it to Julica. Which address do you want me to use, Julica?
Use the office one, office@aauw-org.
Okay. Okay, so what I'm doing is I said, oh, I've got this document, I want her to review it. I remember I right-clicked, I got the link, generated the link to the document itself. And I thought, oh, I'm gonna send it to Julica because I quickly want her to review it. And when I sent it to her, remember, I didn't give her any authority. And it asked me, do I want to share it? And I'm gonna say, for this sake of this exercise, I'm gonna say, don't give access. I'm gonna send it to her. So when I'm gonna stop sharing, and when you get it, see it in your inbox, bring up what it shows you, if you would, Julica.
I have to reload it. It looks like it's slow to log. Okay, here we go. Let's see what comes up.
So she's gonna try to click on the link to see the document, to edit it, and it should tell her that she doesn't have access.
Yeah, it's still loading. I don't know, internet's a little slow tonight. And you said, okay, there it looks like. Let me try one more time. Let me try and share and see what's going on. Oh, it looks like we've got something going here. All right. And there we are.
And that came in, so click on that email. Report phishing. And click on the link, because you're going, oh, okay, I'll do that. And click on the link and see if it lets you. There, told her she needs access.
Mhm.
So she doesn't even have to put a message in there. She could just say request access. And then I will get that in the email inbox of, so if you want to stop sharing. And then I will share the wonders of Zoom. So I'm in my Gmail account of our test account. And if I look at the inbox, I've got something from Julika, and she's requesting me to share that document. So I'm going to say, oh yeah, I forgot to give her. I'm going to give her editor. I'm going to notify her when it happens, and I'm going to share. And then she should get one, and so on. Then she'll be good to go. So that's the steps you would go through. So you'll know if somebody's tried to access something that you sent to them, and they don't have access to it. So if you've forgotten that step.
I'm on microphone.
Tracy, Helen
Yes.
has had her hand up.
Okay. Yeah, I can't see hands right
Oh,
now. but-
okay, I didn't know that. Well, Helen has her hand up.
Okay. All right, Helen.
Okay, so I have a question. I'm not sure if you even want to deal with this, but our group has a Christmas gift thing for a charity, and we have everyone sign up. It's for the whole branch. And so we created a spreadsheet and put it in Google Docs and shared it with everyone in the branch with a link, because you can do that and say everyone on the internet can use this. And some of the people insist that they can't get in. And I find that when I'm in iPad, if I'm using it in the iPad, I have to double click. And when I'm on the phone, it doesn't work at all. And I just wondered if you had any answer to that. I probably should be using a form, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Well, I don't know the exact rules, but I do know there are differences between iPads and different devices. And they'll look a little different. They'll have different functionality like you're seeing. Unless somebody here has a good summary that they found, I would probably start by Googling it and say, okay, I don't have the answer for you here, but I understand that happens. The other thing that also happens is if there's another oddity, or I don't know if it's an oddity, it's probably built-in functionality in Google, that if you share with somebody's non-Gmail email address or account, and you have a Gmail account, it'll try to, not if you share explicitly to that account, but it'll try to share to the Gmail account. It kind of likes to take over. So it's a little difficult when you don't have a Gmail account to share when you're sharing with somebody without a Gmail account. And I don't know all the instances where this happens, but you'll find some difficulties there as well. So to answer your question or not answer your question, yeah, there are differences between the devices. Some have functionality. Obviously, your laptop and your desktop will have the most functionality.
Right.
But you will see differences in how things look and also how things function. They may not be as sophisticated or whatever. So I would suggest when you're working with somebody like that, if they do have a laptop, to try it there.
Well, they don't, that's why. But I'm
Okay.
wondering, do you think a form would work better? Would that be more universal for everyone?
You're actually, it's not really, because a form to me is you're asking for input and then you're going to store it probably in a spreadsheet. That's what I would use a form for.
But
But
well, that's
spreadsheet
actually
is,
what we're doing, kind of.
you're
We're
asking people
using
to
the
enter stuff?
spreadsheet as the method to collect information.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's not like you're sending the list out for people to bid and all that yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, a form. I haven't used forms a lot, but that would be the first thing I'd play with is create a form and then figure out how it feeds a spreadsheet, which is the main functionality of it anyway. So I
Yeah.
think by nature it does that. So yeah, that would be one way to do
Yeah.
that.
It's
I
just the
agree.
problem of people saying, I can't open that link.
I know. And when you get that, the first thing to think about is the sharing, the privacy or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And make sure that everybody's got access. There are other ways to provide the access, which I think you mentioned it, I think, in this example. And that is you can provide access to anybody who has the link.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Or like you said, anybody on the internet, which, if you choose to do that, fine. But I would usually just say, if you have the link, you're able to see it. You're able to view it. I would give certain people maybe access to edit, or maybe everybody access to edit, depending on what it is. But another thing to think about with that is to do it at the folder level, or do it at a, so you don't give them access to just that document. If you're going to have follow-up documents related to the project, or, give them access to the folder, so you're not doing it by document.
Okay. Thank
That's
you.
another. Yeah, sure. Let me think. Any other questions while I'm here on the screen? Is there anything you wanted to do at your branch that you're not sure how to get started with it, or that don't know whether Google Docs or Google Drive will solve it for you? Okay. Anybody have any questions about Google Docs or Google Sheets or even Google Slides? Yes,
I have one. My branch is thinking grandiose thoughts about establishing a drive with financial reports from historical times and founding documents and and I does one person have to own the drive?
No, actually, well, one person establishes it, yes. But multiple people can have the email address and the password. Okay. So I created the AUW-ACCT right tonight. And I gave it a password that you guys don't know what it is. But if I wanted Dawn, I'll pick on her again, to be my cohort and partner in crime, and she's going to actually maintain this account with me, I would give her the name of that account, which is the Gmail address, the Gmail email address, and give her that password. And she would be able to log into that account. And then she'd be able to do whatever I can do. So it's not
So
that I own it.
ultimately, there has to be a person to own the password in essence. And I'm thinking, well, our founding documents, I don't want anybody to be able to delete or modify. I just want them to be able to look at them or
Yeah.
make a
But I would
copy,
suggest
perhaps.
having more than one,
Yeah.
Obviously. And then so that you guys can keep that in sync. But also remember, I had that email address where the recovery goes to.
Yeah.
So if somebody tries to get in, there's going to be an email address generated that's going to go to that account I created today. It's going to go to my personal account and say someone tried to access. Or it's also going to say, and then I'm going to know, or it's going to give a special code if I set up a certain privacy setting, and it's going to give a special code that I need to give to that person to be able to access it. So there is an owner, but for a group, I would definitely have at least two, if not three, that know what that password is at all times.
Yeah.
If it changes.
Yeah, there's with the erosion of media, I mean, you can't put anything on a flash drive and expect you're going to have it still existing 5 years from now, or a DVD or a CD or any
Flash
media
drives are
that
pretty good, but
we
yeah.
really know about. But yeah, I think they're good. I think you just can't tell when they're going to get corrupted or no
That's true.
longer
But you
functioning.
also have, a physical device you have to hand to somebody,
That's right.
the flash drive.
Yep.
You have to physically be in the same, or mail it or whatever. The beauty of Google, this whole thing, is sharing things electronically.
Yep.
The not so good is that it exposes things if you don't do the sharing properly, or or it doesn't share it enough. so sharing is very important, sharing is caring. I'm just kidding. You need to, sorry, you need to think about it, and that helps with you, or it actually impacts how you organize as well.
Yep.
Like I showed you a bit, like you don't want everybody to see it until it's ready. So you can create however many chain of folders that you like that organizes it the best way, but also shares the best way. So all you would have to do for a newsletter, for example, is to give the link at the newsletter level. Maybe you do newsletter and then the month, the year, the AEW year, and you
Mhm.
give everybody in the branch access to that. And that's where you put the final newsletters.
Yeah.
However you want to do that. But some documents you don't want everybody to see. Maybe they're just board documents.
Mhm.
That you're working on things, working documents or projects that you're doing. And not everybody needs to see that. But you're able to work on it any time. You're able to share, you're able to do suggestions. You don't have to talk to them. You can be in your own little world in the middle of the night and do this work. And that's the beauty of it, I think. Is there anything that you guys have run into, or that with your experiences, Dawn, Jolica, Randa, that you think, without making it more complicated, that I can show them?
I think you've covered all the highlights and the way
The
people would
main things that we use, yeah.
use the drive and share it with others. I think it's pretty well covered.
Okay.
Can I
And then
ask-
it would,
give them too much or give us too much because then
yeah, I don't want to do that and confuse
Right.
things.
Right. I think most people will just start off kind of creating a folder for their minutes and a folder for their agendas and a folder for their newsletters. And that's a really nice, simple, clean way to start.
Mhm.
But can
I'm
I
gonna
ask,
start-
what happens when the person who created the drive is no longer a member? How are they no longer, they shouldn't have access, but their phone number was tied to it, the account. And I'm just wondering how these things, we struggle the most in our branch with people who have access to everything or don't have access. And with two-step verification, authentication, it's becoming more and more difficult to create something for a group.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm looking for settings and stuff. If someone remembers where that is. Oh, here.
There you go.
Okay, settings. See all settings. I want to see it over here. There's a lot of settings involved with an account. They do default in a lot of ways. I'm going to go mainly into privacy, whatever they call it. This is for Gmail. Okay, yeah, this is all for Gmail. So I'm going to go to Drive settings. Okay. Privacy. No, that's not it.
Mm.
The
Manage
owner of any document can give away her document to somebody else,
Mhm.
can just give it away and can become no longer the owner of a Google group, for example. But they have to have somebody else to give it to.
Correct. Okay. You have to go at the account level. I was down
Yeah.
too low. And so here we are, manage your Google account. That's the account, our test account. And I'm looking at privacy, manage your data and privacy. So, this one has a suggestion. It's probably going to talk about, that's not what I was looking for. Let's see. Mm. What I'm looking for is the oh, security. I always get that backwards. Okay, the two recovery email. And I think oh, this is just saying the activity. There's a way to change it. So two-step verification is off. You can turn it off. Recovery phone or recovery email. I think we can change it right here. Well, we have to know what the existing one is. Let me see. Okay, you have to know what the existing one is to be able to change it. So before
Okay.
that person disappears, I'm guess what should happen is there should be some place that's not within Google that's written down, perhaps the password, but just a very few different things like that, because you would have to know the password and the recovery email to get to here to actually change it. And if you
Yeah.
can't find that person,
Mhm.
then you have a problem. But yeah,
Right.
that happens a lot, and that's it's cumbersome.
Yeah, I can share also that, you know, with every new president and with the changes in the leadership team, the directors, at the top of the folders in the Google Drive, we change out who has access. So that's
Mhm.
if somebody new comes in, somebody leaves, we manage it at the top of the folders, and that trickles down to all the documents below.
Right.
But we have some applications that were started by people that are no longer with us. And like you said, Tracy, you go in and you look at what the recovery phone is or what the recovery email is, and sometimes it'll give you multiple options. And so each year or two, we add whoever should have access, we'll add their email and their phone number. Other things are not that easy. But there's a way of managing it. You know, we know that there's a handoff, and that should be part of the official process of moving from one team to another.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I know it happens, when people don't renew, whatever, have an illness, sometimes that happens. That's why nothing beats having it written down, and having a couple
Sure.
people have it,
Yep.
because those things can happen. And it can cause a big problem, where you can't get into the drive. But remember, to get to all this stuff and to look through all this stuff, it's at the account level and manage your Google account. So that's what I was looking for. The rest of it was at the actual application level, which isn't used as often, I would say, for things like that.
Mm.
And notice the two-step verification, it didn't force me to turn that on. So if you don't want that.
No, there's what's interesting though, I'm finding is more and more of the applications that I subscribe to or I'm part of, they want that now. They're forcing it. So
Yes.
I think the day's coming when Google will
Oh,
do
yeah.
that.
And I'm surprised it had that, because I thought it did force it, but I guess the accounts that I'm involved with, they did require it at some point from the organization. So that's probably how we ended up with it like that. Because I noticed here it didn't force me to do it.
Mm.
So, but you're right, and that's the biggest thing. Sandy's doing it all the time with our account. She'll get the notification that there's a code, the verification code, and she'll just send it to the whole leadership team, because she doesn't know who's trying to get in.
Yeah.
So hopefully the person who was trying to get in will see the email and be able to use the code in time. So that's just how we've dealt with it there. But
all the time with a Zoom account.
oh yeah,
and-
yeah.
And you can have, as California Online does now, because of what you just said, you have Google, the password to Google, and so that verification code goes back out to that email. And
Mhm.
if 2 or 3 people have that, then maybe that's the people that are trying to get in.
Yeah. All right, so we are at 7:07. If we want to, if you have any more questions, do let me know and I'll be happy to try to answer them.
I had just have a
Um,
question about a topic. Have you covered Facebook and how to manage Facebook at the branch level?
I have not, but I can, that's one thing to think about is I need to, what our topic might be next time. People have mentioned they want to talk about PayPal or tools like that.
Mhm.
Um, and there's always good to show everybody, unless you've seen it from last year, do a walkthrough of the website. You know, what's available to you on AEW-CA, because there's a lot out there.
That'd be
Um,
good.
I was
Yeah.
gonna mention that, oh, I'm sorry, Tracy, Julie, that if you just go onto our website and type into the search bar Facebook, there's a number of webinar presentations, slide presentations that have been done in the past about establishing your branch Facebook account. So just
Yeah.
type in Facebook on the search bar and you should get some resources.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and if you do that and you think that there's something missing, you know, that isn't covered there, definitely shoot me an email, let me know.
Okay.
Well, I haven't seen those in a while, but they're pretty thorough if I recall. Um, but I do need ideas. I always need ideas. And
Tracy,
those
we've
are the
had
ones.
increasingly bad luck with PayPal.
Mhm.
They change their interface from time to time and they don't do right by supporting us. And we've been thinking about moving our financial online payments over to Square, which we've had better luck with.
Mhm.
So if you start talking finance,
Yeah, okay,
there's a couple of players in the field.
okay.
That
And
might
Just
be
to
a
give
good-
you a heads up, if you're thinking of selling tickets to an event, please don't use brown paper tickets.
Mm.
No, we're using Square. It has some nice features. I mean, it lets us set up the price of an item or an item with no price. For example, like a donation is an item.
Mm.
So we've got a fundraiser coming up and the tickets are X dollars. And if you want to do something more than that, you add this other item called donation. And then you get to say how much it is. It's kind of neat. It's kind of neat. They take a percentage, but it's not huge. And people are using it.
It's called Square.
Square.
Mhm. Been around for a while.
Yeah, it's been around for a while. They
Been
used
around
to
for
have
quite
a
a
little
while.
white jigaboo
Mhm.
that you would slide your
Think
credit
they
card
still
through,
do.
and they still do have that. In fact,
Yeah.
you log in with your smartphone into their website, and
You
and
plug
then
this into
somebody
where the
slides
power cord
their
goes and
you
yeah.
make a little note on the side. The last 4 digits of her credit card were blah blah, and this is what she did. And then you've got a way of reconciling the account that you get back from Square with what actually happened with you at the branch meeting or at the
Mhm.
event or wherever. That has worked actually well. I'm pleased to say.
Good. Okay, so yeah, any ideas you have for future sessions, let me know. If you have anything, if we want to talk about the financial, options. I know we have something out there, don't we, Dawn? I'll have to look through our existing stuff and I don't know if it's
I
up to
don't
date either.
think we have anything on
No, we
that,
don't.
actually. I don't think we have anything
Okay.
on, for example, putting a PayPal button on or a donate
Yeah.
button on
Right,
to
right.
websites. So maybe it'd be helpful to learn about both PayPal and Square. So people can, I don't know,
Mhm.
maybe the only person I know who can present on PayPal is Sandy. She's the only one I know that's set it up. And hey, Gail, if you set up Square, maybe you can talk about Square. That'd be cool.
And then the
I mean,
donates.
I probably need a little time to talk to the treasurer and see if she's willing. She might be better at it than I am, but
Perfect.
it's
That's
pretty, yeah.
Perfect.
Well, we
We're
can-
just,
We can try to do that next time, or depending on what schedules we're looking like. Or maybe it's time to do a website overview again, even though we're going to have some more functionality soon, or this year, I hope. Maybe just to go through the AEW California website again. It's always good to look and see how it's, because it changes. You know, there have been changes, so maybe I'll do that as a default, and then we'll try and organize the right people
We-
to be available for the.
we've kind of changed our approach to that project too, Tracy, so
Yeah.
it'll be fine to go ahead and record or review what's there.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
could talk about what the intent of that project is, so.
It's, we have a plan now.
Okay,
We
good.
stumbled
Yeah.
around a while. It was,
Mm-hmm.
turned out
It's
to be a little
hard.
more complicated than we thought, so, but we have a plan now. We just have to execute it, so it'll be a little while. But anyway, it
Yeah,
won't
just to
impair
give you a
what
little
wanna
high
do.
level, we're trying to make it, the search capability more robust. And then mainly to include the webinars and other things, because right now they're just listed by when they were given. You
Yeah.
know, and it's, you're hunting and pecking to try to find the one you're looking for.
Yeah.
And we've got so many of them out there now. And it's not just that, it's also peer group stuff. It's, you know, I don't know what's been included in the latest go around, but it's a good project, and you know, it'll be good when it's in and available for use, but the content's the content. So let's just talk about that. And my guess is that'll be next time, unless I can gather the right people. If I can, Gail, if you can talk to your treasurer and see what they could potentially come on and share. And we'll see what Sandy's schedule looks like. Maybe we'll get together. Let's see, well, we're talking December also. Might be a little
Right.
less.
Our next meeting
attendance.
is December 5th.
Oh, okay. So we'll see what we can do, but maybe one of those two topics. But if you guys have anything else that comes to mind, that you want to know about, then definitely shoot me an email and let me know. And we can find, if I don't know it, or if you know somebody who knows it, include that as well. That would be helpful.
Okay.
All right, if there are no further
Thank you, Tracy.
questions, I want to thank you all for being here. And
Thank you,
and
Tracy.
again,
Thank you.
yeah, the
Thank
next
you very
session is
much.
December
Very
5th.
good. Thanks.
It was
Good.
really good, very
Glad. I
helpful.
hope it makes you a little bit more comfortable in trying it, and do just like I did. Go out there and create one, create a Gmail address, a Gmail account, and play around. That's the way you'll learn how to use it and get comfortable with it.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much.
Everyone.
Night.
Bye.